So here we are. This is the only box I have left to sort. And I'm not even going to sort it. I might grab like a handful or two sporadically, but I'm tired of sorting. I really am. It was a long haul, but underneath my desk is full of empty containers. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these minimum, and a bunch of other small things. So I have all this empty now, and I have all these empty now, and I'm just going to put them all in the same container. And so in the end, it was, I don't know why I keep these. They don't stack well, and they don't hold parts the way I want to hold parts. There's less density per unit, storage unit, than I like, but I keep them. I paid for them, so and this is my bin lids and Ziplocs that I use, and sometimes I get right down to the minutiae, small things, but hardly use those at all. So I just didn't want to talk about the fact that I'm almost done sorting. I got into a brief discussion with a friend about how I sort, and I've talked about this before, function versus color, or color versus function. A lot of my friends, most of my friends, because of Bricklink stores and whatever else, they sort function overall. So individual parts that are identical, no matter what the color, go into a storage unit, a storage container. And most of my friends use those Plano boxes, which I actually do not have any of in this room anymore. I used to store my Technic stuff in there when I used to go to robot shows, because you could, that's when I used it. Because you had all the little cubicles, all the little storage compartments in a Plano box with a lid lifted up. I think I gave them all to my son for his tackle, for his fishing tackle box. But that works out perfectly for Technic. I found when I used to do robot shows with RTL Toronto, I had my toolbox that had 2 or 3 Plano boxes full of parts that I may need to either fix or modify my robot at a show. Spare RCXs and wires and motors and sensors and blah blah blah. But you know, the regular Technic pieces, Technic beams, Technic plates, some 1x black plates and stuff like that. Stuff I knew I would use in my robot should something happen to it, or if I needed to make an instant modification. That's when those Plano boxes came in awesomely for me. Now, some of my friends will take those Plano boxes, and so, for example, many, and again, I've Googled this a lot, and I've seen a lot of YouTube videos. When it comes to the basic pieces, yes, that's sorted by color. So you have a 2x4 bin of red bricks, and you have a 2x4 bin of white bricks, and blah blah blah, and even plates. But even when it comes to plates, some people will just put 1x2 yellows, or just 1x2 plates, no matter what color, in a 1x2 bin, because it works. I would say it does work in that instance. I don't do it because my first sort is by color completely, because I just find that to be easier. Because for me, and I'll show you this in a sec, when it comes to, for example, modified plates, and let me just get these things cleaned up a little bit. I don't need this up here anymore. That can hide underneath here. A little song and dance. So this right here, not this right here now, but this right here is my entire bin of modified plates for blue modified plates. They're all in here all together. So Cliffies, whatever. I go in here, so like the L bracket for thrusters on classic spaceships. Can't complain about that. But what became I would imagine the idea of where they got the landing pad on the 10497, but this one has studs in the bottom. I just got that one a couple of months back. Modified plates. This guy was featured prominently in many classic space sets in the 80s. That's a classic modified brick. But if I get down here, so there's, here, let me drop that in the ground. A 1x1 blue clippy. Now, I don't have too many 1x1 blue clippies. Maybe 2 dozen, maybe. and the other 1x1 with vertical clippies, not too many. So if I wanted to, I can then take all my clippies, 1x1 clippies, no matter what color, and I can put them in a bin. Just what some people do, which is a worthy way, a solid way. I'm not faulting it at all. This is a worthy way of sorting your plates, your modified plates. The problem is that in this bin, minus that guy, which is a modified brick, I would hazard a guess. I would just hazard a guess that there's at least 40 to 50 different types of modified plates in here. So you need, quote unquote, 40 to 50 bins. Small bins to be said, absolutely small bins to be said overall. But again, if I wanted to be consistent in my bins for my shelves, like this would require a bigger bin because I have tons of these in black. I have a bunch of these in red. I have a bunch, some of them, well, lots of them in blue, lots of them white. And so this bin would, the bin that would hold all my L brackets, 2x2x2 L brackets, would have to be bigger than my bin that holds 1x1 clippies. It would be. Now, again, no faulting that. And a Plano box would come in perfectly handy in that instance. Or even those little tiny pull-out shelves, those little tiny plastic shelves that people have in their walls, and usually in a steel frame, and they're little tiny pull-outs. Fantastic. My issue is I don't have that. I don't want to pay for it. I had a few when I inherited them when I bought other people's lots and sets. But I didn't keep them because they don't work here. They don't work in this room with my Billy bookcases and all that stuff. And I don't have room here, and I got my display shelves here. I think my friend Chris has that, and other people that I know have that. And I want them, I think that's great for them. My one point for me is that when I'm building, I build them blue. Again, if I'm building classic space. And so if I'm bringing all my bins from over there in the room over there over to here to build with, if I have all these bins of 1x1 clippies with all the colors in them, and I can find the blues pretty easy because even being colorblind, I can find the blue 1x1 clippies. I have to bring that entire bin over here, which takes up space on my desk. And I know that if I'm building classic space or anything that requires modified plates and I'm building in blue, I know I'm going to have, I think I mentioned 40 to 50 different types of modified plates in here. I know I'm going to be using at least conservatively 10 to a dozen different modified plates in whatever I'm building, right? So I would have the 10 to 15 bins here, right, to get the blue pieces that I want. Or I get out of my chair and walk over there. Either way, not a huge deal. Like, again, that's why I admire people who do it, because it's not, either way, there's problems and there's pluses. There's pluses and minuses, and either way you do this. For me, because I have settled on this $1 per bin at Home Depot, and I got, I don't know, conservatively, how many did I figure out? 4 times 10, so 40, at least 40 per shelf times 11 shelves. Over 400 of these things here, and it cost me $10 a piece, and I would pick up a few every time I went to Home Depot. So I would imagine, okay, probably, yeah, approximately 400, might be less, might be more, whatever. But gathered them over the last dozen years, and so I already invested the money, and they fit perfectly on the shelves. I mentioned that these things 4 across and 10 to 11 deep, going from top to floor to ceiling, they fit perfectly. So that's the bonus for me, not necessarily for you. Who wants to go out and buy $60 to $70 Billy bookcases? We try to get them on sale, but I have 11 Billy bookcases here from IKEA. And then my ad hoc shelves that, again, I went and just bought the vertical uprights from Home Depot, and these clippies here, the holders, and put that, drill them into studs, blah blah. And so, I mean, these are adjustable, blah blah. My dad used to have these for all his scuba diving finds from. He had a beautiful rec room in the old house, blah blah. Quick tangent. So, so this is why I was inspired to do the same thing here, except I'm displaying Lego, not stuff he found. in the depths, like Jacques Cousteau. But so there's pros and cons to everything. For me, going through the whole thing, sorting by color, then by function. Sorting by color is the easiest thing in the entire universe, except for me being colorblind when it comes to the new colors. So all don't even bother getting sorted. But sorting by color, and you have the basic gray, light gray, dark gray, black, white, red, yellow, blue, and so that's 7. That's perfect, right? Yeah, whatever. So and new gray and old gray, new blade, new dark blade, and dark whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So that's easy for me to sort out for color, and then by function. And again, the 1x1s plus 1x3s go in a bin. That's bricks. 1x2 goes in their own brick, own bin. 1x4 goes in their own bin. 1x6 usually goes in their own bin. 1x8 goes in their own bin. But again, when it comes to colors don't have as many bricks, it's easier to sort because all 1x bricks goes into one bin. And again, you can find in a 1x bin full of basic 1x to 1 to 8 by whatever, 1x1 to 1x8, all the same color. But you can find a 1x6 yellow if you want to, or a 1x4 yellow if you want to. Now, overall, all my basic colors, I have enough to fill up a bin. So I have one bin of all those original colors: black, white, red, yellow, blue. 1x1, 1x3 bins full on all 5 of them. 1x2 is full, 1x4 is full, 1x6 is mostly full, and 1x8 is full on all of them. So every time what I'm doing, I get a lot, and it has those bricks in there. No matter what basic color, the original colors, I just put them right in my overflow. Again, don't have to sort it now because my bins here are full, and I don't need to add to it, right? So, and the same with the 2x2s full, 2x3s full, 2x4s full, 2x8 mostly full. And so if I get the 2x2 to 2x4s, any basic original color, they go straight to the overflow. I don't even have to look at them, straight to the overflow. What I should do is I should remove my older, crappier bricks out of my bins here and replace them, but that's work. And again, I think people know that I do not mind building any of my mocks using 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000 versions of the same brick. And the only time I do not use a brick is when I pick it up and there's like a great number of dings, bite marks, cuts, breaks, deep gouges. Then it goes into the bin of doom right over there, and then I go into my overflow and I replace it. So it does work for me. And so there's no easy, quick way of doing any of this. But for me, as I say, I'm going to be building with at least a half a dozen or a dozen different modified plates from this bin. So this bin sits on my desk to build, right? Instead of me trying to get, where are these things? The Plano boxes, or even just using these guys, because I could do that. But then I'm going to have 50 of these out there with the various colors in them, and like one specific function, but all the various colors of that one specific function. And when it overflows, I'm gonna have to get a bigger bin because that's what's gonna happen. So, because this is the example. So this is, as I say, my entire bin of modified plates for blue. This, and again, I haven't sorted them out completely again, but I have 2 bins here, two containers here. These are my modified plates for black, but not only that, these are my 1x2 modified plates for black across 2 bins, right? 1x2s. And now, again, this is my way of doing it instead of Bricklink's way. So I have a whole bin of one of these, this size, of 1x1 modified plates, full, right? And I have a 2x2 modified plates full, and then I have 2 bins full of everything else. The collectible minifig base plate, the 3x4, It's a modified plate. In my book, the modified plate, and then the 8x8 grills that I've been looking for. So all of them, the car chassis from the 80s and 90s and blah blah. So all those modified plates that are not 1x1, 1x2, or 2x2 are in those other two bins. So I got at least five of these things full of modified plates, and I sorted them by 1x1. One bin, 1x2, two bins, and 2x2, one bin. And this is the issue. So the 1x2 modified plates overall, and that shouldn't be in here, that should be over here. As I said, 1x2 modified plates with no studs on the side. So this is a 1x2 modified plate, a 1x2 modified plate with handles. And again, if I were to take all my 1x2 modified plates with handles, no matter what color, and put it in a bin, that bin's going to be full. And it have to be a big bin, not like a little bin. Now, if I took all my 1x2 modified plates that has this, that looks like this, I could probably get away with a small bin. And this guy, a medium-sized bin, all the different colors. The L's back to a big bin, right? And so on and so on and so on. These guys, small, right? And then all of a sudden, I'm having 50 bins over there, various sizes, which would drive me crazy. So right now, when I'm building in black, and I know I'm going to begin using at least a dozen of these modified plates, they're right here. And so this one is my modified plates, 1x2 modified plates. There's 1x2 modified plate with studs on the front. So this is this bin. So this is the differential between modified plates without studs on the side and modified plates with studs on the side. And this is just how I did it. And again, what I call, and this is against Bricklink, this is a 1x2, it's a modified plate, because the plate has studs on top and holes on the bottom to accept other studs from the brick below. That's the plate part. The plate is the entirety. Studs on top, opening. What's it? I can't remember now. It's getting tiring. The places for studs in the bottom. And so this is not a 1x4 modified plate because there's no 4 studs on the top and 4 spaces on the bottom. It's a 1x2 for me. And that's what I called it when I was a kid before Bricklink started. So again, I'm not fighting against Bricklink. If I open up a Bricklink store, I would say whatever they said this piece is. But right now, I do not have a Bricklink store at all. And so I'm keeping my naming convention, my sorting convention that I had pre-internet. This is a 1x2 modified plate with studs on the side, 4 studs on the side. Just like this is a modified plate, 1x2 modified plate with studs on the side going up. Blah, blah. So, and again, Bricklink has its own thing. So again, if I were to put this, I'd have to have a big bin. I have lots of these. I don't even know. I don't even think I've put a Bricklink order for these. I think this is just acquiring sets over the years. These guys too. I mean, these is going right back to Classic Space, the 1x2. The ladders, lots of ladders. So for me, this works for me because now the bins are here and they're the color I need. And again, I mentioned this in another video. So you're building away. And you're going, oh, I need that 1x2X, and this guy right here. And you're going through, and I need a dozen of them, and you go through, oh, wait a minute, I can actually, oh, this gives me more inspiration because I found the other guy that I just had in my hand. Where did he go? This guy. Oh, I can use this guy. Because it's right here. It's inspiring to have all the 50 different, well, in here it's not as, this is already sorted out, but to have the different pieces to look at and say, ooh, I'm more inspired now because if you have one bin with all exactly the same part in it, that's all you see when you're looking for the blue one or the black one, right? The red ones and the white ones you're pushing aside to get to the blue one. This way, I'm pushing away other types of bricks. I go, ooh, I can use that somewhere else. Boom, inspiration, right? So that's a small little thing for me. And it happens to me, and again, I'm not saying it just because, oh, it would be like, no, it happens to me all the time. Especially when I'm in the blue one. And I'm looking through and I'm building my tower or whatever. I'm going, oh, I can do something with this guy. Oh, that's a chair. I can do something with this guy. I didn't think about it, But now that I'm in that zone of building this whatever doodad for the tower, oh, I can put this somewhere close to that and it'll do this X, Y, and Z, because I see it now and I go, boom, visual guy, right? So this is why I sort by color and then by function. And on top of that, as I say, my black modified plates across 5 bins. My blue modified plates, 1 bin, right? And all the bins stack. And so when I'm building here, I can just stack the bins right behind me and then grab as I need it. And they're all the same. And the bins are all the same. And it's easy to see when you're looking out there. You can see back here. Easy to see, easy to walk past, easy to whatever. It's... I'm inspired by, there's that one video of that guy who completely renovated his basement and has like pull out shelves and just the plain old boxes and just like, you think of 250,000 bricks. Again, I don't know how many bricks I have here. Completely inspiring to be that sorted and that beautiful basement look. Because these Philly bookcases, they were supposed to be good, and I love IKEA, but Jeffy told me this. IKEA fixed their shelves basically, I think, within a year after I bought my last shelf for here, because they, if you look, and I won't show you, but the middle of the shelves droop. Lego's heavy. Who knew? And so when I have all my Lego boxes, all my Lego bins, the shelves kind of curve. So I'm looking at kind of a wave all the way down. It drives me nuts. But I'm not going to pay for new shelves. I'm not. What I have thought about is because again, when I moved in here, the entire basement was my Lego room. The entire basement. I had my shelves along the walls. They had built-in solid oak bookcases when I moved in here. That was pretty, could have been nice, but it wasn't nice. It was kind of slapshod and whatever, but was really sad too because it was solid oak. And yet the 3 owners after were doing various things and painting, and it looked like bleh. But anyway, and so I used those shelves, and then I bought the same IKEA shelves. Right? Was it IKEA? The wooden shelves, Ivar, what do you call them? I had those for a while with the milk containers I told you about, the 4-liter Chapman containers. That's what I used there. And so they were in the basement against one wall, and that was good enough for me at the time. And the entire center was my train layout. I used the old 30 by 30 squares from the train, the standard train modules back then with legs, and so the entire center, so you could walk around the perimeter and there would be shelves with all Lego. That worked perfectly, but it wasn't great for a family with kids because the kid needs a place to play. And you know, if he's down here making a mess, he's not in the living room making a mess. But now that he's older now, Sandy and I have talked about removing the wall and making this thing into one big rec room again. And if I have the dinero, and soon I'll have the time, hopefully retiring, I would go over to Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever, to buy the uprights for shelving with all the holes drilled into it and build my own shelves. And instead of, for example, overall, I have 3 bins high. This is why it's so heavy. I have 3 bins high per shelf because I don't have enough shelves to make each individual have its own shelf, and it takes up too much room where the holes are drilled. It takes up too much space. So instead of fitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow, 15 high, not 10 high. I have more boxes than I thought. Anyway, 15 high. If I put 1 row of these containers per shelf and then keep them putting shelves and then having spaces, I would only be able to probably fit 14 or maybe 13, and then I have less, bins in here. I have to have a bigger room. So, but if I build my own shelves and make the space between the top of the container to the next shelf very, very small, because that's not what I get here, then I could fit the 15 again, because I measured it out. But that would be custom made shelves. And I've thought about it. and I might start on this back wall because I don't have to remove the wall, the room, then make the room bigger, and see if I can do it along this back wall and just continue it. And it kind of looked like that guy's basement, except still using these guys, because I am really stuck in these guys. These guys are working extremely well for me. As a matter of fact, I used to have all my bigger stuff sorted into those bigger bins, and I said, nah, let's put everything in here. Because I used to have those big bins full of the 2x4 bricks, because of course I had that many 2x4 bricks. And I said, nah, let's put them in overflow and put them in the garage, because they're taking up space in here for other bricks. So, but this is how I sort. So I sort by color, and I just sorted out all those colors from my old builds, and then by function. And what happens is that I can then bring those bins that I have, the piles that I have sorted out here, the 2x2 bricks. Oh, sorry, not even the bricks, because again, all the bricks go in the overflow, but the modified plates, whatever, I just bring that bin over here, sweep it in there, and put that back. I don't have to then sub-sort the modified plates into specific functions until I get the black, because black, yeah, it's a little tough, because now it's 5 instead of 1 bin, but all my other colors, red, white, blue, yellow, they're all 1 bin. It works for me. Same thing with modified bricks too, exactly the same thing for modified bricks. So overall, most of my modified bricks fit into 1 bin. There are a few colors where it's 2 bins, like red and white. I will say, on that specific note, again, this is how I sorted from a long time ago. I removed multi-part and hinges. So hinges and multi-parts are not a modified plate and a modified brick, even though they are. Because I build in classic space, I want the hinges to be separate because I want to find them easier. And wings are all sorted out onto themselves. So my wing plates, even the blue plates that are wing shaped at all, are in a wing bin. Because I'm going to build a Galaxy Explorer. I'm just going to grab my wing bin. As a matter of fact, I have my wing bin right here, because I was just thinking about what Jeffy said, and I was just looking in here, and these are all the 4x8 and 4x4 wing plates that I have left after all my builds. And I'm going, I highly doubt that I have enough wing plates in here to build what Jeffy wants me to build. I'm going to give it my best shot, probably right now. But I wanted to talk to you guys because I haven't made a video in a couple of days, and that's just because we were camping on the weekend, having a really good time camping in November, first time ever. I don't remember ever camping in November before, but it was 25 degrees outside. That's Canadian, that's Celsius, by the way, that's not Fahrenheit. And I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it was warm enough to go camping. And then go down below 15 at night. It was colder on Friday night than it was on Saturday night, which is odd. We had to have the heaters on Friday night. To Saturday night, we didn't have to have the heaters on in the trailer. But it was our last camping trip this year. We got the trailer out 4 times this year. so that's a win for us. It's we always love to go camping, except, right now, the last couple of years it's been a little bit not as great, because everybody wanted to go camping since COVID started, before we could go camping and find spots easy and book. But now you have to book well in advance. Except now, where we went, Valence Conservation Area, it's a Hamilton Conservation Area spot. After Thanksgiving, you basically show up at the gate, and you don't have to pre-book. You can't pre-book, and you have to show up at the gate, and if they have spots available, and it's November, of course they're going to have spots available. So we went there, and we found a site that we actually liked, and then we said, we'll take this one. And then Sandy went back to the front gate and said, we took this one. And so we got there Friday after school, and it was perfect Friday night. It was perfect Saturday. Saturday night about 1 a.m. it started to rain, which we did not expect, because you don't want to put your trailer away wet, because then the mold starts. Thankfully, the rain stopped. It was more of a shower than a rain. And so Sunday, the sun came out. It was cooler on Sunday, but we dried everything out except for the carpet. We have an outdoor carpet that we walk on in front of our trailer. So that's in the garage right now. It's dry now, but it wasn't dry when we left camp. So we put it in the van instead of back in the trailer, because we want to put the trailer away dry. That's what you have to do. So let's get on a quick trailer talk. We bought this trailer a long time ago. It's a pop-up. It's a 10-foot pop-up Starcraft. For personal reasons, Starcraft is great. But it's a Starcraft. It's a 2005. We got it, I want to say 10 years ago. Maybe less, maybe 8 years ago. Doesn't matter. We got it from a guy who took very good care of it, and we renoed it. There's videos in here from a few years back of us renovating the entire interior, because the Starcraft company, even though they make a great trailer, couldn't, for the life of them, put a good power supply in there, and it basically melted. It almost caught the trailer on fire. And it's like, really, really, you put the extra $5 into getting a real inverter. But anyway, so we rented the entire trailer inside, new floor, new cabinets, new whatever, top to bottom. Not new canvas, because the canvas is great, the door's great, the structure is great. But during that reno, I rewired the electrical from front to back, because it does have an 110, it does have 12 volt. It used to have a three-way fridge, three-way fridge to 110, 12, and propane. I ripped that out of there. I've never been impressed with three-way fridges, because they take up a lot of space with the three-way mechanism, and less fridge space, and it takes forever to cool down when you're camping. And since you're only camping for a weekend most times, by the time it gets cold, you're going home. Like, it's just a pain in the butt. So when we renoed the trailer, I did keep the fridge that was in it originally, but halfway through the reno, my mother-in-law wanted a bigger bar fridge in her room, so we bought her a bigger bar fridge, and we kept her old one, which was a perfect height, exactly the same size, physically outside, physical dimensions of the fridge that was in there, the three-way fridge, but it has twice as much capacity inside. Like, it's 110 volts, absolutely, it's 110 volts, so you're not using the fridge off grid until I get my inverter working, my solar panels, which is a thought. So we replaced the fridge with a 110 little bar fridge. It works perfectly well. The second we get to the campsite, we plug in, and the thing's cold in an hour, and it works great for the weekend. And we do have our coolers. We, again, just for really quick to talk about camping, because I love camping. We have two coolers, one for the meat, one for everything else, because we want to keep the meat separate from everything else. And Sandy and I freeze orange juice containers, the plastic ones, and vinegar containers, the plastic ones, and any other big bottle, the plastic ones, a week before we go camping, and we just put them in the bottom of the cooler. It works perfectly well, and they're still frozen by the time we leave on Sunday. Of course, this was a cool weekend, but even when we went in July, those things are still frozen solid. Well, not frozen solid; they've got a little bit of water in them. But and then we don't have to buy as many packages of ice from the camp store. So that's what we do. Some really quick camping tips from us. My friend Joe will go out when we used to go camping. He had a place to buy dry ice. And he would wrap it in a newspaper and put that at the bottom of his cooler. It's a fantastic idea. He gets a slab of 1 inch or 2 inch thick dry ice, cut the size for the bottom of his cooler. He wraps it in newspaper, puts it in the bottom. Fantastic. That lasts the entire time. And then you don't have any water. Like when our ice melts, because even better, there's water. There's condensation and stuff like that. The dry ice never had that problem, and stuff stays cool the entire weekend. But every time I go looking for dry ice, never can find it, so I don't even bother. What we do is fine. It's free. We fill up our containers with water. We put them in our deep freeze here in the basement for a few days before, and then we take them out and put them in the bottom. They fit perfectly into the bottom of their containers, in the bottom of the coolers, and then when we get there and Sandy wants to make Josh a snack late at night, because the cooler's in the back of the van, we don't keep the cooler in the trailer. We keep it when we pack up at night when we go to bed. We don't want food laying around the campsite. So the coolers go into the back of the van. We beep the van. You can't get in the van. So we bring our snacks inside and we put them in the fridge. The pop's in the fridge throughout the day. Water, bottles of water is in the fridge throughout the day. Cheese, snacks, whatever in the fridge that needs to be refrigerated. So leftover food, like this weekend, we had a fantastic pasta dinner on Friday night when we got up there, but I was not that hungry, so a lot of pasta was left over, goes in the fridge. So I'm loving the fridge. And so on another note about the trailer, so I got into quote unquote off-grid ideas when we renoed the trailer, and I built in all the wiring hookups for solar at the same time, because I wanted to do that while I was building the trailer. And I ordered 200 watts, two 100-watt panels off of a company in Hamilton, and I got a 1,000-watt inverter, and I bought one battery. And the problem is that one battery's not doing it. It's not lasting the entire night. So I am doing a lot of reading, a lot of whatever, but I'm really liking the idea of off-grid, completely off-grid, because every time we go camping, we have to have an electrical site because we have a 110-volt fridge. So if I can get the fridge to last overnight off the batteries and the inverter, I'm all for that. And so that's my next step on that little fridge, to have it run off the inverters. So for Christmas, I'm going to be asking for more solar panels, because I bought it $1 a watt. They're beautiful panels, 100 watts each. And so if somebody wants to buy me a Christmas present, family, get together, buy a 100-watt panel. Make sure it's the same make and model, let you know. But anyway, so that's I've relating it back to Lego, because Lego is always fun to rebuild and change and modify and blah blah. This is why I don't have a problem ripping apart a trailer. And the fact that all my uncles that I worked with when I was a kid were all self-employed contractors who built houses and whatever else. So I've done framing, roofing, electrical, gas lines, all of it. I'm not any certified in any of it. I am not certified. Do not come and ask me questions about your codes. I don't know. But for me, we did all the rentals in this house. I built walls, moved the entire kitchen, ran 220-volt wires to where the fridge, the stove is now, wired it all up. That's what I do. I did not do the panel. I mentioned that before. I did not do the replacement panel. When I moved in here with fuses, and I had a friend of a friend come over and charge us, which is good, professional certified, to replace that fuse panel with a breaker panel. Ontario Hydro came in, pulled the meter so he could do that. It went smoothly. It was a Saturday morning. He was in at 9 out by before lunchtime. It was the smoothest reno update that I've ever seen. I've worked with bad contractors before this guy showed up. Had the panels, had the switches, had the breakers, had everything, and we just mapped it out. And the beautiful artwork of wiring that he did inside the panel itself, because I'm a hack. I try to keep inside the panel nice with the wiring and the slack and all that stuff, but it's just a piece of art inside the fuse panel or the breaker panel. So I admire good work when I see it. But I've done everything else, and so I have no fear of trying anything once. And that's why I said go solar, but it is a pop-up, so I cannot leave the solar cells on top of the trailer because it's in park for the winter now, and I won't see it until April, right? Who knows what's going to happen? And forgetting the thievery that may happen, because I trust where we're parking it. The guy is very, very reputable, and it's behind lock gate and stuff like that. It's on top of the trailer, and it's a pop-up, so it's like at eye level, like people throwing stuff on it, whatever. I am concerned that so Sandy and I are now looking for a 17 to 19 foot solid trailer, not a hybrid. We don't want a hybrid. We want a solid trailer. I don't want bump outs. Any moving part can break. Now, if we can't, if that's all we can get is a solid trailer with a bump out, I'll take it. But I don't want to pay more than $1,000 a foot. So a 19-foot trailer, I don't want to pay more than 19 grand. And that's all the trailers are right now. A 19-foot trailer is $19,000 to $25,000. And anything shorter than that is not going to hold Josh. We've looked. We cannot find a 17-foot with bunkies. It's the kitchen table folding down into a bed. We don't want that. We want the queen bed for us and a bunkie or whatever on the other side of the trailer for Josh, or two of his friends or whatever. We have to be able to sleep for without converting the kitchenette into a bed. So that's what we're looking for. We've shopped around a lot. We're always got our eyes open, and that's what we're looking for. And right now, the pop-up's fine. I've been pop-up camping since I was 4. My parents had a pop-up when we were kids. It was a little Bellevue 6, which was my memory's faulty at best, but I remember it being a cute little adorable one. I don't know if it was an 8-foot or a 10-foot. I honestly can't remember now. I think it was a 10 because the tables ran this way, it didn't run into the bed, the table and the bench. But we got rid of it before we moved to the new house. So we got rid of it before 1979. But I remember picking it up with my dad, and I don't think I was 5. And we used to go camping that. And after we got it, and I got my own pup tent when I was 6 or 7, because being a cub, I got my own pup tent. I used to sleep in the pup tent, which most of the time was tucked in underneath one of the pullouts. I would just tuck it in there. I would just set it up underneath there, and I was sleeping there. So my mom and dad and Terry would be in the trailer, and I'd be in my little pup tent. So I have so many camping memories that are just, I've loved camping, and I've been camping. My earliest memories are going camping, just like Lego. Again, I talked about Supertramp, Lego, and Star Trek, and camping. All the things that I did and loved when I was my earliest memories, I still love to this day. And that's literally astounding. But I grew up in a small town of 1,600 people, in a small community, and went to church, 50 Church in Winona. And we went camping with them. 50 Church went camping. Believe it or not, our church group went camping. The Winona Men's Club used to go camping. My dad was part of Winona Men's Club, and so we would go Winona Men's Club camping. Utterly fantastic. The Boy Scouts obviously went camping. So I went camping with the Boy Scouts. And my dad's dive club, we would go camping because they would have to go diving. And wherever the diving was, there was a campsite. And so I've been to Belleville, Brockville, Picton, Thousand Island, Sarnia, Tobermory all the time. I love Tobermory. I would move there tomorrow if I can get a job up there. It's one of my favorite places in all of Canada is Tobermory. But I camped out there every long weekend. We up at Tobermory, up at Big Tub Lodge with Jim and Jean Townsend. Just absolutely adorable people. And they were like uncles and aunts to us kids. They would be down for Thanksgiving and Easter every year, and we would go up there to the Big Tub and just have a blast. And the divers would go diving. Manitoulin Island numerous times, a lot of camping. And so all my life, Shirkston in the area, Shirkston, Bissell's Hideaway, all these little campsites around the area. So with the men's club and all that stuff. So many times camping, almost every long weekend growing up, we'd be camping somewhere. And even between the times when we took a week for family vacation, we'd be camping. and then when I hit Boy Scouts, I'd be camping with the Boy Scouts. And then when I heard 19 or 20, I'd be camping with my friends. And just, I loved camping, and I still love camping. And we were just camping yesterday. So in November, the earliest we've been out is April. We did that a couple years back. It was a very warm April after Easter. We went camping, and now the latest I've been camping is November. Except I want to say back in Boy Scouts, and I will never ever do this again. We went winter camping once in Boy Scouts, and it was only at Puttycombs. Thanks, Gutterville. But I will not camp in a tent in the snow again, ever. And I did it once. I got my badge. I know how to do it. I'm not interested, especially at my age. I mean, this is 40 plus years ago. I will go camping in this trailer. I'll pop up in the winter. We got a heater. We have a heater in the trailer. If I'm at an electrical site, we're camping in the winter. We went to Algonquin Park, Sandy and me, a couple years back for a drive-through, and just to check it out. It was January, deep -20, stupid weather, and we saw a couple because people will do this, camping in the winter, and they have a little pipe coming out the side of the trailer with their little wood stove inside. All the power to you, dude. I ain't doing it. Although a wood stove inside a camper trailer, I like we've got a propane heater that runs off 12 volts. So I mean, the trailer is overall, besides the fridge now, is still a 12-volt trailer. But I would winter camp in the trailer, and if we get the solid trailer, I definitely will go camping in January. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. I love being outdoors in the winter. So anyway, this was more about camping than Lego, so I'm going to go back to the Lego thing. Thanks for, sorry, let me get this, my mind straightened out for a second. Sorry about the lack of updates, because we are camping, and I love camping. So anyway, everybody stay safe. I hope you're doing well. I am doing pretty well. I'm pretty happy right now. I just got back from a wonderful camping trip, and I got most of my Lego sorted. And as I said, the last bin, it could take forever, and I don't care. There's nothing in there that I need immediately. There's lots of burps in there. That used to be my top secret base. But there's a lot of white and yellow bricks, so I know that it's all going to go in the overflow anyway. So not too many pieces I really need right now. So I'm not worried about it, and I want to build something. So I will talk to you soon. I hope everybody's doing well. Take care.